inaugural plant-based symposium for food and nutrition at Cal Poly Pomona. We're so thankful for you to be here. My name is Dr. Kelly Reese. I'm an assistant professor in nutrition in the Nutrition and Food Science Department. And on behalf of the Nutrition and Food Science Department, I want to thank you for all being here. Experts, learners in the field, plant-based nutrition, so that we can share the importance of plant-based foods. We have a great day planned for you, and then a half day tomorrow. When we started our plant-based nutrition minor here at Cal Poly in the Nutrition and Food Science Department, we knew that we wanted to provide a lecture series to our community. And that extends to all of the professions, our students, the Pomona community, Southern California, where we really are the epicenter of plant-based foods and nutrition. But then COVID hit, right? And we wanted to continue on, so we continued with biannual webinars, a distinguished lecture series. But we knew the value of providing a symposium for our community and bringing that in person. So we're so happy to be able to present this symposium to researchers, industry, clinicians, academics, practitioners, and our students. Now, all of this could not be possible without our generous donor, Mr. Bipin Shah, who you'll hear from later today, and our sponsors who are present, and our expert speakers, as well as the support of the Don B. Huntley of Agriculture and the Nutrition and Food Science Department. Just so you know who all is in attendance, and we'll have more influx and outflux today and tomorrow, we have our researchers, our industry folks, our academics, our students. We all want to learn from each other, so I hope that you'll utilize all of your resources today. All right, well, I guess that means they want me to wrap up. Okay, so what I want you to know, though, is that 70% of the world consumes plant-based foods, and we know that plants promote life, they promote health, and that's what we look forward to sharing with you today. I'm going to go over some of the logistics for you before we get started. You all received a booklet in your bag, and it has the agenda, it has our schedule, our locations, the bios for our speakers, as well as our poster presenters. We are in auditorium for all of the presentations. So we're in the auditorium for all of our presentations, and then our exhibitors we have in Vista 1. Please know that around 3:30 there will be a break, and that's when our students will be at their posters for further presentation, and then we will be doing presentation of the final winners at closing today. Because our students do have classes, they can't always be here for the whole day, but their posters are being presented outside. We have breaks planned throughout the day. Bathrooms are to the right. We have exits at multiple locations. Please put your carry-ons under the tables so we can get started, but we are all ready. I want to make sure that you also are aware that we have evaluations for each session. So at the end of the book, if you can do an evaluation for each of our sessions, you'll see the QR codes and the links. And then make sure that you rate the overall symposium tomorrow in the afternoon, as well as provide feedback on our graduate programs. So all of the evaluations for each of the sessions are in the back of the booklet for you. So if you're a sponsor, we also have an evaluation for you as well. If you can rate those tomorrow afternoon, we'd appreciate your feedback. We have wonderful student volunteers who are helping us. They will be wearing a black polo, so you can look for any of them if you have questions, as well as myself or any of the other speakers on behalf of Cal Poly. We will be able to answer any questions that you have. But without further ado, I think it's time to bring up our representatives from the College of Agriculture and the department. We have Dr. Harmit Singh, who is the chair of our department in Nutrition and Food Science, and he's going to present a few comments and welcome you all. So, Dr. Singh, if you can come up.
Thank you, Colleen, for the introduction. And I want to welcome everybody here to our first plant-based food and nutrition symposium. Thank you to the AVPs and other guests from administration to be here. And the sponsors are the key, the industry sponsors and other sponsors have made it possible for us to host this symposium. So I want to, from the departmental point of view, I want to say that this is a unique indication or representation of the nutrition and food science coming together for this symposium. Normally they are working in their own fields because sometimes they don't talk to each other, but this is an opportunity. The plant-based food has been an opportunity where we need information from both sides to promote the plant-based food itself. So I'm just going to read a few lines from our vision of our department, and you can see how it aligns with this symposium. We want to give the best to our students. We want to learn ourselves from the best in the field, and then pass the information to the students, because of course all students are not going to be here. So the vision of our department is to be a nationally recognized center of excellence in producing nutrition and food science leaders, as well as creating and disseminating knowledge in collaboration with alumni, community, government, and industry. So this is our overall vision for the department, and this symposium is part of that effort for the students to learn more, and we ourselves develop ourselves professionally. Just quickly, this department, I want to thank, I can thank later, but I want to thank a few people who made this event possible. I think Bilal is one of the workers who is running around for everything, but then the committee from Colleen and Fatima, these three were key, and I want you to please applaud for them. The other two, maybe they are not here inside because they are working. Donna Ha, our lab coordinator, she is helping a lot on the backside, and our ASC, Jaslyn, oh my God, she did a lot of things behind the scene to make it possible. So I want to thank those two people possible. And at the end, I want to thank all the faculty members from Nutrition and Food Science Department, Bonnie, Emily, I don't know who else is, David. I'm not taking all the names here, but everybody contributed as a group to host this, because there were so many moving parts, and that how in the background there are so many things going on in that. And with that, I want to invite Dr. Baski here. She's the Dean of the College of Agriculture, and I want to pass on to her to say a few words. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks so much, Harmeet. Let me put the word interim dean in front of that. I'm also the dean for the College of Science. So I'm here in my 9th year at Cal Poly Pomona and absolutely love it. So again, welcome to this amazing first plant-based foods and nutrition symposium hosted by the Department of Nutrition and Food Science within our Don B. Huntley College of Agriculture. We value your commitment to learning about the health benefits, production, and sustainability of plant-based foods and nutrition. In particular, I will be paying attention. I'm actually a physicist, so I can learn a lot out there about what's happening. Our symposium will feature 11 guest speakers, both academic and industry panels, and an industry expo with 30 companies and networking sessions. Here at Cal Poly Pomona, our vision is to be a diverse and inclusive polytechnic university that transforms lives. Our student population is over 50% underrepresented minority and over 50% first generation. We are diverse, and we want our students to feel that they belong in STEM. That's one reason I am here, because I come definitely from the STEM world. I've always believed that differences drive innovation, and here at Cal Poly Pomona, we are educating the next generation who will enter and innovate industries such as are represented here. The Huntley College of Agriculture enrolls over 2,100 students across its 8 majors in 5 departments. It is the founding college of Cal Poly Pomona and a key aspect of the university's identity and heritage. We provide hands-on experiences for our students in agronomy and animal units, the vet clinic, and the food science laboratories. The Department of Nutrition and Food Science is the 3rd largest in the nation, enrolling nearly 500 undergraduates in its 2 majors. It has a vibrant faculty, as you'll be meeting today and tomorrow, and recently received about $750,000 to upgrade its plant-based facilities for research and teaching. The department's plant-based nutrition minor, which was started in 2020, pandemic time, right? Can remember that date, introduces students to the health benefits of plant-based foods and connects sustainability to what is on our plate. This minor was possible, as you heard, by a generous gift from Bipin Shah, who will be speaking a little bit later this morning. So in closing, thanks to all of you who have made this symposium possible. That includes the dedicated staff and faculty that you just heard listed, that we thanked, who have worked so hard to offer an exciting program. I hope that each of you out there does learn something new today. I hope there are a few students out there too. Make a new connection and enjoy yourself. Look, this gorgeous California day. So please go outside a little bit too. So thanks so much for joining us, and let's get started.
All right, so I'll be the moderator for the panel. So we have our nutrition and food science faculty here. And I want to take this opportunity to share a little bit about the plant-based world and how this comes to develop in terms of how we educate our students and then bring that into the real world with industry. So you can read the bios in the booklet for each of our folks, but I'll go in order here. We have Dr. David Edens, who is a chef and a professor in nutrition. We have Dr. Emily Kirisic, professor in nutrition, registered dietitian. Dr. Harmit Singh, chair and professor in food science. Dr. Gabriel Davidoff Pardo, also professor in food science and our interim associate dean for the College of Agriculture. And then Dr. Bonnie Burns-Whitmore, professor emeritus, professor of nutrition in our department. So they all have great backgrounds and perspectives. Dr. Bonnie Burns-Whitmore is also a registered dietitian like Dr. Emily Kirisic. So what I want to start talking about is all of the faculty who have innovative research in plant-based foods and nutrition, and Dr. Burns-Whitmore, being our professor emeritus, I really think she can do a great job opening today to explain and define what plant-based eating is, right? Because many of us think, well, that means you're vegetarian. No, not necessarily, right? And then Dr. Burns-Whitmore, can you also tell us a little bit about what you teach in the plant-based nutrition minor?
Hi, thank you very much, Killeen. She's also a registered dietitian, by the way. Well, in terms of the definition of plant-based diets, there's really no consensus. But we can agree that it's a diet that's predominantly plant-based. So I don't know if that came as a surprise to you or not, but so there are different kinds of vegetarian diets, and I'll tell you a little bit about them in a bit. But I teach a class called Vegetarian and Plant-Based Diets. It's for the minor in plant-based, and I also teach a 4,000 level course called Nutrition, Inflammation, and Chronic Disease, in which predominantly I talk about plant-based diets because that's how we prevent chronic diseases. So anyhow, there are different kinds of plant-based diets. There's vegans and strict vegetarians who do not eat any animal products whatsoever, so they are totally plant-based. And fruitarians, which don't eat everything except fruits, botanical fruits. I don't know if you know about them either, but I've met a couple people that are fruitarians. Lacto-ovo-vegetarians who consume milk and eggs, or milk-based products or dairy products. Pollo vegetarians or polo vegetarians, which eat chicken, and they don't eat any other kinds of meat. There are pescatarians who eat fish and shellfish, and predominantly plant-based. And then there's other flexitarian diets like the Mediterranean diet, the DASH diet. Even My Plate can be predominantly plant-based too, and that's the USDA eating guide. And DASH diet, which is it's basically a diet that you look at for people that have chronic diseases already or want to prevent chronic diseases, which is predominantly plant-based.
Thank you. So, Dr. Singh, you were instrumental in creating the plant-based minor as well. Can you share a little bit from the food science perspective, what courses you teach and what you included in the curriculum?
Yes, thank you, Colleen. Yes, we designed this curriculum for plant-based food. We hosted an Indian healthy food competition before the pandemic. Dr. Eden was also instrumental. We were hosting Dr. Davido, everybody was here at that time. But at that time, we were thinking vegetarian, what kind of title we should give, we should start something. The plant-based minor came with our generous donation from Mr. Bipin Shah. It took us 2 years to get the curriculum, design the curriculum and approved by the university. So the idea was that it was basically questions which I had in mind, which I tried to answer by the courses we designed. So what is plant-based diet? So that was the course for the nutrition to say what this diet is, what kind of plants and what kind of levels of vegetarianism or plant-based diets are there. So the students can learn from that course about the diet and how to balance the diet, because we always have this question, where I'm getting my proteins from. If I take out meat, what do I eat? So that's all part of this course, which is part of the diet, which students should learn. But when you go to the grocery store, you buy cans, you buy processed food. So from food science angle, we thought that we should have food science courses which can teach students about the plant-based food itself, what the functionality, what we call it functional foods or nutraceuticals, those foods which can help prevent or cure a disease, or prevent basically we call that. So we designed a course for introduction to the functional plant-based functional foods. That was another course which we designed. And then when you think about that, if you buy some food and it is processed by autoclave or high-level processing in industry, some nutrients may be damaged, right? So we want to teach students, if you process food, there may be some nutrients which are going to be decreased in the food, or they may be changed to something else. So that is another course where we have effect of processing on plant-based food. So that covers the whole gamut of processing from food science angle. And then a lot of people, I'm from India, so we have a lot of vegetarian dishes at home. You know, we eat that. But in America, when I came 25 years ago probably, that vegetarian dishes were not very common, at least in common places like McDonald's or wherever you go. But now there are more and more options with the plant-based diet. So a cooking course where you can learn how to make a vegetarian dish was a really important part of that. So Dr. Eden was instrumental in designing those courses, and an activity to plan the meal. So meal planning activity was another course which we designed. So these are some of the courses. It requires 8 units of extra courses need to be taken by the students. Apart from sustainability courses, which are important, we have that in the minor. And also we have other nutrition courses which are kind of prereqs for other courses in there. So we designed a course, a curriculum where it was 20 units of courses, but basically if they took other courses already before as part of their major, it's extra 8 units of courses which need to be taken.
And
so that was
other majors can join it, right?
Yeah, it was. That's how we actually spent a lot of time. Me and Dr. David Edens is to look at the GE courses which other bio or plant science or other majors, they are taking them anyway. The sustainability, a lot of sustainability courses are there. in bio or some other places, other departments. So they were also used as electives. So they can spend less time in the minor, but they have taken already those courses. They have taken those ones already.
So
that
I'd
was
love to hear a little more too. Dr. Edens, would you mind talking about the meal planning and the hands-on courses that you teach, really the Cal Poly Learn by Doing, as well as share a little bit about the work and collaboration you've done with other departments?
Sure. So when we designed the major, again, Harmit brought up that we wanted to create a chance for people to cook. We also wanted a meal plan, and I'll maybe talk about the meal planning first. As a chef, when we were teaching other chefs, and I taught at Cordon Bleu and Art Institute and other schools, a lot of times people would say, well, I want a vegetarian meal, and pasta would come out. Pasta primavera would come out. And so my idea of this course is to have people think beyond that and really create a meal, dig into other cultures. I guess the chana masala that I made the day of the competition, his wife still talks about it. So
she remembers him by that.
So dig into other cultures and try to put together an entire meal, not just a dish, but an entire meal, right? Because we eat, 3 courses, maybe a salad, some kind of entree item, and maybe even a dessert. So think about that from an entire meal. And then from the nutrition side, eating vegetarian diets, especially vegan diets, you lack some nutrients. Things like zinc, iron, B12 potentially. And so how do you then provide a variety of foods within that meal plan to address some of those nutrients that you may be lacking in the diet? So that's kind of the activity, is to go beyond just making pasta primavera. The cooking lab, on the other hand, really is an opportunity for the students to get hands-on. We cook through all of the macros. There's a carbohydrate day, there's a protein day, there's a fats day. And then towards the end of the program, we cook what we all call, and came from a book, but we cook the rainbow, right? So there's a red day, there's a green day, there's a white day. And some of that's so that students get the opportunity to handle potentially products that they haven't handled before, but also to do things like, for example, on the green day, we make collard greens, right? And if anybody knows, collard greens typically are, simmered for a long time with usually like something like a ham hock or smoked turkey leg or something like that. But we end up making a vegetarian version of that, doing little tricks with things like liquid smoke to have them taste similar to what you might know as collard greens, but not have any meat product in that at all. So we cook through the rainbow. And then as Dr. Eisen brought up, kind of one of the big collabs that we have done, and I see some of the foundation people out here, is somebody in plant science and myself, we started a farm-to-table course through a USDA grant. And that farm-to-table course has grown over the last couple of years. I started it with a plant science, so farm, and I'm the chef, so I'm the table side. And we started it just kind of as an opportunity to really look at food from the soil all the way to sitting on a plate in front of you. And it's grown now. We had a champion in foundation a couple years ago who really wanted to get involved with this too. And we have, later today, if anybody wants, I can show you, we have a micro farm up behind our Collins College building here that's a small, I think it's a 1/4 acre. It's kind of a small farm that we provide some items to foundation. You may potentially be eating some of the produce today when we eat lunch and meals tomorrow. The original goal of that was to provide 25% of the total produce buy for the foundation dining services from our farm. So we had this little farm here, little, But we have a big farm just down the street called Spadra Ranch that has a lot of not only vegetables, but there's turf and things like that and research that goes on that farm. I've just found out, I was at a conference the other day with the foundation chef, and he said that the foundation is now up to 30% of their buy from Cal Poly farms. And we've been able to do other special projects, get the students involved in, for example, when we give a case of, say, oranges, what's the yield? And does that match like a case of oranges that they would get from Cisco, right? We also have had a little bit of opportunity to get involved in, Foundation did a project with ice cream. And so there's a avocado ice cream and a satsuma citrus ice cream that are all made from products right here. And I don't know if you all on campus, if you drive around later today, just to promote ag a little bit, if you start on University Drive and drive all the way around, everything to the right as you're driving around is all agricultural. You'll see avocado, citrus, all kinds of things. Up here you see animals. Over there there's much more agriculture. So we took this opportunity to, again, this very unique opportunity of having a farm to be able to use that stuff on campus as well. And when you talk sustainability, it's a mile away, right? So think about the carbon impact of a mile versus some of the products that we get in our restaurants.
Thanks, David. So I didn't know about the meal planning details, so I need to invite myself on the days that you're doing collard greens and all kinds of, very good, you too, and Dr. Burns Whitmore. And thank you for sharing a little bit about the College of Agriculture as well. Dr. Burns Whitmore, I know you've been really involved in a lot of research around plant-based foods, being Professor Emeritus, which is a huge accomplishment, by the way. I want to thank you for all of the research you've done, and I was hoping you could share a little bit about some of the research with the different plant-based foods that you've done in your career.
Sure, thank you very much. I basically do randomized crossover studies utilizing plants. We have done, and some animal products, eggs for one. I tried to get some grants from NIH. We had a really large NIH grant one time, a long time ago, but those are really hard to get. So I have been working with industry on a regular basis. I've worked with the American Egg Board, the Walnut Commission. I've worked with pistachio growers. I have worked with, let's see, what else? I have to go back, chia, Salba chia.
Avocado, right?
Avocados, yeah, mission avocados. And what else here? Grapes and mangoes. I worked with just recently with the California Table Grape Commission on a crossover design grape placebo, double blind. And we just finished that just recently, kind of exciting. And the mango, we just finished that one last week or so we don't have any results of that, but it's fun. And I mean, Loma Linda has been doing that kind of research for a long time. They are the leader, actually, in Southern California. They are also one of the blue zones. Blue zone people live 10 years longer than the average human, and there's not very many blue zones in the world, and there's only one in the US, so congratulations to Loma Linda also. But we have been doing plant-based research here in Southern California for a very long time. I've been here for 29 years. Next year will be 30. But thank you for letting me have the opportunity to tell you a little bit about what we've done here. Oh, coconut oil study also.
Yes, it's a plant, exactly, plant-based, yeah. No, thank you. And, you know, going along with that, Dr. David Pardo and Dr. Singh, you are on the food science side and have done some work here too. Dr. Singh, can you talk a little bit about your research related to plant-based foods?
Yes, as a vegetarian, I was always interested in the functional foods, but my background when I came to US was in proteins. I worked with the professor in Kansas State University on gluten initially to find new functional products from gluten itself. But when I came to California, I initially wanted to do something, but it is not. California has different crop composition here. We sell a lot of fruits and vegetables. So I started working on colors, natural colors. And Stephen from Color Maker, you see the booth outside, they actually sponsored my research initially. We wanted to make, natural colors are less stable as compared to synthetic colors. So we started purifying, concentrating natural colors from different crops. Prickly pear was one of them. Grape skin colors. So there were different kind of colors we were working on initially. But then recently I have been working with proteins again because of the hype in the plant-based proteins. Industry is looking for different sources of proteins. Pea proteins and some other proteins have been in the processing side. But I did my sabbatical recently on almond and cashew proteins with a company called as Olam. I was in their site in India for a couple of months, and they were trying to develop a patty, meatless patty using cashew flour. So I solved their problem because the patty was crumbling when they were making it. It didn't stick together. So I used my chemistry background to solve that problem, and they were really happy about that I could do that in 1 week or 2 weeks when they were working, the chefs were working for a long time to solve that problem. So that's recently we have been trying recent research, and the grant funding I received was we are working with Bilal and a couple of students. Abhi, he's back there. We are trying to make these proteins. They have we call it PD-Cas value, which is the digestibility score. And the industry needs high protein digestibility score because, of course, they want to use it for plant-based food. So we have been trying using enzymes to modify the proteins and look at their digestibility scores to see if they can be improved. At the same time, we want to make them more functional. Some proteins can be good binders in the product. So, and from food science perspective, we look at those, but at the same time, we want to make sure that the digestibility scores are acceptable by the food industry, and only then they can use it, or they want to use it. So there are both aspects of that. So we are working on that aspect. So those are briefly my areas of research and funding which I have received in last few years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so, coming together, food science and nutrition really makes the foods that we're all eating and choosing to purchase as consumers. So it's really important to look at those different components. So Dr. Davidov Pardo, you have been really involved and had a successful career as a food scientist as well. But would you mind just sharing a little bit about the wonderful salsa you made at the Cal Poly Forum Star? And I am a huge fan of this, okay? Shameless promotion here for his salsa. He does more than make salsa, but I just want you to talk a little bit about that and briefly about any research that you'd like to share as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Colleen. So, well, let me start with the research, and I will leave the salsa there. But so my research has been mostly on encapsulation and nanotechnology when it comes to food science, food nanotechnology, and I have been using plant-based proteins and, of course, polysaccharides for quite a while. Having using zein to create nanoparticles in a more green way. We have been using also comparing the emulsification properties of different plant-based proteins compared to dairy proteins, which are great emulsifiers, as we all know. Functionalizing those proteins through the Maillard reaction, for example, or complexation with polysaccharides such as mesquite gum, which is similar to gum arabic, but not as utilized. So that's been mostly my research. Other scholarly activities that I have been involved in, it's a lot of product development and product development competition involving students. And I would say probably over 80% of those projects have been plant-based projects, which have made it to national competitions and have highlighted the creativity and the technical knowledge of our students. Regarding the salsa project, we've been for quite a while, and it's part of our strategic plan in food science and technology, to have a product made by students sold at the farm store. But we took it a little bit further, and since we have a farm to table, right, class, we wanted to have a farm to jar product, right? So we decided to create a product, which is a salsa, plant-based, by the way, using Cal Poly Pomona produce, and designed and made by students. And this is also really important because it's a partnership with industry, right? We partner with industry to be able to make the product at a approved, certified facility with the expertise of the owner who actually employed Cal Poly Pomona interns. So that was part of the agreement, right? The product was developed by students, and it's made by students using CPP produce. So I highly recommend that you visit the farm store either tonight, but maybe tomorrow after half the day, go to the farm store. It's a great place to go to check out the salsa, of course. But the important part here is that the students were able to go a little bit further and beyond, not only ideating the product and presenting in a competition, but actually going through the hurdles of, for example, scaling up, right? That we all know in food science is probably one of the most challenging aspects in the product development cycle. So I also want to thank Diane, who's over there, who has helped greatly with manufacturing the product, again, in her facility, but employing Cal Poly Pomona interns.
Thank you. And folks, shameless plug again, farm store is open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I wouldn't promote things I don't like. So excellent. That salsa tastes like it's fresh in the refrigerator section, but it's in a can.
We are almost sold out of salsa, I think.
Oh, shoot. Oh, no. Oh, no. I probably bought it all. So to wrap us up, and please, audience, if you have Q&A questions for folks, we do have some students passing around mics. I want to just close with Dr. Kirisic. So Dr. Kirisic does a lot of work in the community, as does Dr. Fatima Subhan. And I'm curious, Dr. Kirisic, what you see as some of the student nutritional needs as well as the community nutritional needs, and if plant-based foods play a role in that area. This is a little quieter.
Is it working? Oh, there
Yeah,
you
we
go.
got
Okay.
it.
Thank you for the opportunity. As I was listening to my colleagues here, it comes to mind that we talk a lot about like farm to table or farm to fork. And it's great because we can work from the soil through product development, the nutrients in the food. We talk about how those relate to disease. But then what I do, or my focus really is, what does that really look like in the community, right? We're producing things, there are policies passed, there's legislation, but how are community members interpreting those things? When I was a kid, I used this a lot in my class, I remember there was 2 kinds of yogurt and 3 flavors, right? And now they go to the store and there's tons of different flavors and tons of different kinds, and there's dairy and non-dairy, and there's just so many more. And how does a consumer hear on the radio or on TikTok or on YouTube that plant-based diets that are not well defined are important, and then go to the store and make a good decision, right? We, at the community nutrition level, are saying, how does this look in the community? Is it confusing? How can we demystify it? The reality is that once students get to me, they're on the verge, the precipice. They're experts. They're so good because they've been to all of these other classes where they've learned all of the foundation they need to go into the community and translate. That's what they're doing in community nutrition, is they're translating all of their cooking, all of that science, all of the disease related information that they have, and they're taking it from, you need 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, to what does that look like on your plate over 3 meals and 2 or 3 snacks a day, right? And I love that we get to do that. We really are like farm to fork and also in the grocery cart, and we're in the home as they're making those meal plans themselves. So, as far as nutritional needs for our students and our communities, Pomona is interesting. The college here is on the edge of some really higher income areas, but Pomona itself has some really struggling folks, right, with lower socioeconomic status, who are living in challenging economic situations. And so plant-based fits in there really well because we know that you can get really affordable plant-based protein sources and incorporate those into folks' diets. Something I've noticed in our local community is that more than ever, we do have community members who are asking about plant-based. They're trying to be plant-based. They're saying they're vegetarian, or they're trying to only eat meat once a week, or things like that. And they need help really getting there in a healthy way that they can afford. And our students are able to do that. I think Cal Poly does a great job of meeting the CSU mission, which is to serve their community members. Our students look like our community. And the benefit is that then when I need students to go out to community sites, we have students who speak Spanish, who speak Vietnamese, who are Hindu, who are Jewish, right? And they can go out and we can find someone who can say, I am from your culture, or I have a good knowledge base. I also have great nutrition knowledge, and I would like to meet you where you are and work alongside you to meet your goals. And that's what we want to do in nutrition at the community level. Is we aren't saviors. We don't go in and help people. We work alongside folks to meet their nutrition goals, and their nutrition needs are just like the rest of the country, right? It's not unique. What's unique is that we position our students from the soil to the grocery cart to the kitchen counter to be helpful stewards of good nutrition.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well said. I appreciate that. So, folks, if anybody has any questions for our panelists, we're happy to open it up. Yeah, we have a question over here. Our student will bring the mic. I didn't tell them to wear their running shoes today, so bring that over.
Is shape of certain protein in the food or in the plant body does not get digested and cause autoimmune diseases. Do you pay any attention to that? There was a lot of research was done in East Coast, and to reshape that protein, they said you take apple cider vinegar a couple of times a day, and which reshapes and they digest it. So when you come up with the food, especially protein part, are you studying any part of it? What causes, whichever protein does not get digested causes a autoimmune, what was researched?
I think you have three brains that might have to answer that and put it together. So as far as the structure, I mean, Dr. Singh, you study a lot of that, and then I know Dr. Burns-Whitmore does a lot of research on the health outcomes of that. Dr. Singh, have you heard of any of that research, and same Dr. Whitmore?
Well, like I said before, when we modify proteins, it's mainly we look at the digestibility scores, but we are relying on further research from other scientists who are more, equipped with the grants and money and students to further study those in that sense. So our part is that we take the protein which is available from the market, which is already known. We are not creating, again, this company where I worked with, they wanted to have minimally processed proteins either, because most of the proteins right now in the market, they are processed very heavily. But the studies we did, we wanted to have cold pressed almonds or cashew powder meal, which has even fat in this and all that, and then we try to put it through the products and see if the product can handle the functionality of the product is not compromised as far as the binding and shelf life and all that. But our food science side, we stop kind of at that end, and then rely on the nutrition and some other clinical researchers to figure out if there is anything
And I
in
will
that
say
sense.
at 11:30, Dr. Ramden will be speaking on immunology. She has an immunology background, so we could definitely speak more specifically to that. But I did want Dr. Burns-Whitmore, and then we have another
Yep.
person in the audience to just kind of follow up on the nutrition aspects of that.
I'll be real
Yeah.
quick. Different shapes proteins can cause reactions in different people. So it's not like one shape of a protein is going to cause problems in everybody and cause an autoimmune disease in everybody. So I just wanted to clarify that. The other thing is that there's a lot of people that have allergies to proteins, and the protein shape is everything in an allergy. If the body thinks it is, something that it's seen before, it will react like it would if it was an allergic reaction. So possibly that is what they're talking about. It's an immune response or an autoimmune response. It's not really an autoimmune, because an autoimmune is the body's attacking the own body, thinking it is the problem. And it's probably something else that had started that to begin with, a protein that had started that to begin with. But you can only cause an autoimmune disease within the cell if that cell has been exposed before. So I'm not quite sure exactly what they were saying. I'd love to get more information from you on that, and maybe I can give you some more information.
Yeah, thank you. And then we have that question right here as well. Sir? Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm actually a teacher at Business College.
Oh, wonderful.
So
Welcome. Thank you.
I want to share you my student. I'm teaching business planning and entrepreneurship class, but we have a couple students doing a lot of food science project. They do mushroom vertical growing. They do Indian Express for vegetarian. And then I'm a restaurant teacher at UNLV, but I still do not know how to share and how to do from nutrition, food science. So I'm thinking about perhaps we should have bigger symposium combining hospital college, business college, and even food science, because food is actually everyday life.
Yeah.
And then the employment pretty much the biggest private sector in the USA. So I very thank you for putting this conference together. And I actually invite a couple of my students here, so I wish they can all learn from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
Thank
food
you.
is plants are build life and our life, right? All right.
Yeah, and ag management and business management are big areas where we can collaborate on, because California is big in agriculture business. Yeah.
Hi, I'm here on the industry side of things, and I want to thank you so much for what you're doing. This is so important. I want to address this to the community side of things. What you were saying, again, is so important. People out there, they are like starving for information. Has Cal Poly Pomona considered having students do some type of certification, or plant-based certification or plant-based coaching, so that when they do go out into the community, they kind of have that stamp of approval, if you will, and because I also know it's lucrative. I also know there are, companies out there selling these coaching programs, and I think Cal Poly Pomona is uniquely positioned to take advantage of that.
There might actually be someone else who could better answer this question, but the plant-based is newer, right? 2020 feels like yesterday. It was 4 years ago, but it feels like yesterday. And so I think it's something that we consider. I don't know if that was something they had considered in the beginning, so.
I can talk about it.
But that's a great, excellent idea.
Yeah, so a number of years ago, and it really just sort of implemented this year, to become a registered dietitian, it was only a bachelor's level certification or program. That has now moved to the master's level to become a registered dietitian. So planning for that, we started a nutrition and health program with the eventual goal of having some sort of certification that goes with that. That's fairly new for us, but at some point there will be like a certificate that you will get through the nutrition and health program to be, say, a wellness coach or whatever that end product ends up being. But again, the sort of healthcare dietitian side of things moved up, which not all of our students want to go to graduate school. So we created this new other pathway with the goal of having a certification at the end of that as well. Not only, yes, you're going to have a bachelor's degree in nutrition and health, but a certificate as well.
I like that plant-based certificate idea.
And
Yeah.
we also partner with San Antonio Regional Hospital, And we have an agreement with some of our students are health coaches there, so they go through a whole year program there. And so they are out there in the community, actually working with patients.
All right, last question.
This is wonderful. Thank you. Dr. Singh, you mentioned some of the plant-based foods are very highly processed. And I work in the consumer products industry, and I'm seeing an explosion of things at retail, at mass market retailers. So I'm just wondering, how much is that impacting the nutritional value? And is it, you know, it's turned into such a buzzword to have things be plant-based, but is there any sort of hiding the ball going on too in those type of products?
Yeah, food industry in general is moving toward the clean label. They are taking out the ingredients and the processing to decrease the processing. And that was, I gave the example of that industry. They don't want to process the proteins as much. Even the pea proteins you use in the Impossible Burger or all these products are actually really processed. So they are going toward that, finding new products, but it's not very simple, because when you are adding proteins and changing ingredients in a product, consumer, they want to have the same taste and same texture. And that's where the challenge of food science comes in. What to remove, how much to add, the new product, is it easy to give that texture and quality of the product? So it's a challenge. It's not simply easy, because we know from our consumer studies that taste is the major factor why people buy things again and again. It's not, if you say that I'll save your life, but you have to drink this smoothie, which is nasty, to drink every day, 2 times, or even every day, people are going to quit after a few times. So taste and texture and all these things are really important part of, and that's what the industry of food scientists, they struggle and they improve on. So when you are developing a product, like I gave you example, they were trying to make this patty out of cashew flour. It keeps on falling apart. You're not going to buy it, because when you make a burger out of it, half of it will fall out. So they will struggle with that and try to modify the processing, but they are aware, the food industry is aware of that, and they are trying to go away from most extreme processing technologies and try to have simple technologies, cold pressing, not to harm the protein which was originally there. Not only proteins, along with proteins, there are other functional components. Why almonds are healthy, we may not know exactly all the polyphenols, but we know they are healthy. So if you are processing it a lot, you may be draining out some of the products, you may be oxidizing some of the chemicals or bioactive components. So ultimately you want to minimally process it, and then you want to use that product as in the product. So it's a process, it will take time, and again, the taste buds can be modified. If youngsters can learn, they can eat certain things at early age, they'll like that product even later on. So we need to introduce slowly new products with new tastes, new ingredients in them which are healthier, less processed, and ultimately probably will achieve the quality we want from our health point of view. So that's where the industry is leading to right now. Yeah, that's what I can say. Yeah.
I am going to ask, I'm going to ask folks to ask more questions during the break. Thank you to our panelists for speaking today.